here. These are the legacy PPM encoders, PPM confidence monitors, which you're probably familiar with. They give you nothing but a green light that lets you know that basically in the last 3 minutes you've still had good encoding going on. We have the newer Nielsen PPM confidence monitors, which give you the advantage of having 4 radio stations to be monitored within one single rack space. But they give you some more granularity, but not enough to do anything meaningful in terms of the study. And then here we have the Voltaire, which gives you the granularity, but the TVC is the next generation of this, which is what I used. So again, the 3 parts of the project were to look at the TVC for correlation with the Nielsen meter counts. I respect Jeff and I respect 25/7, but I wanted to see, if I'm going to base some research on something, I wanted to see if it actually really was going to correlate with real-world meter counts. So that was the first part of this. And then I was going to, assuming that worked out well, evaluate the tests and the effects of bitrate reduction before PPM encoding and after PPM encoding. And there it is. That's the early prototype of the TVC monitor. It's now called the TVC 15, and I believe it's now a shipping product. It looks very much like a Voltaire, but it does not require an encoder to be wrapped around it. This thing will accept audio from any source that you have and give you metrics in terms of what the encoding looks like. The TVC allowed me to see the IP port with 400, has an IP port on it, which gives me 400 millisecond updates, and it gives a confidence level from 0 to 1, and it also gives a reset interval indication. That is the number of seconds, or each time a valid message is received, it will give me a signal. So I can look at the number of messages received and see how well the audio is being, the watermarks are being transmitted. So I designed a program on a PC to capture and monitor the data stream output from the TVC. And this program counts the reset intervals per minute or per 10-second time frame, depending upon the duration of the material being used. The first part of this is we're going to be looking at some songs, and the second part of the talk here we'll be talking about some over-the-air measurements, and those are longer term. Those are 30-minute samples, and I looked at 1 minute averaging on those. The program averages the confidence level, and again, either 1 minute or 10 seconds. The songs are going to be 10-second averaging. So again, the first thing I needed to do was correlate the real-world results from Nielsen. So what I did at first was I recorded several days of each station off the air from a tuner using the analog FM signal. And we used 3 different musical formats. In Boston, we used a hip-hop station, a country station, and a soft rock station. And let it run and collected all kinds of data. And then I started to graph this data to make sure what I'm after here is to look and see if the results that I'm getting from the TVC are tracking what Nielsen is actually reporting in terms of meter counts. Those are the meters that are registering that particular station at that particular moment. So I'm going to show a few scatter charts here in a moment that are going to show trends that prove to me that the TVC is a legitimate measuring tool, and it seemed to track with the real world meter counts that Nielsen provided. So the message is broadcast from the encoder, a full message every 4.8 seconds. This equates to about 12.5 messages per minute, so every minute either has 12 or 13 messages, depending upon whether it's an odd or an even minute. And the message success rate that you'll see defined in these graphs is defined by the number of successes over the number of opportunities. Again, the number of opportunities is either 12 or 13 per minute. And so I'm going to go through a series of these. This first one here shows a classic Lorac station between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. This scatter chart here shows on the horizontal axis the message success rate, I believe, yes. And on the vertical axis, it shows the number of meters that was actually reported by Nielsen for that particular hour, for that particular station. And that's as a percentage of the number of possible meters that could be reported. And what I want you to look at here is the best fit slope graph that I've put on here, the best fit line, which shows a positive slope. So that in general, as the reported success rate goes up, as reported by the TVC, the number of meters goes up as well. You'll see a lot of my data points on the right are slammed all the way over to 100%, and that just means that those data points were saturated because the TVC wasn't loaded down enough, there wasn't enough noise in the room, and basically it's all 100%. So I really don't pay much attention to those blue dots that are all the way on the right, but the other ones are showing a clear trend in the right direction. I did this as well with the symbol confidence level. Same thing here, we're seeing a graph that looks like it's correlating well with the real world. This also is a different way of looking at it. I'm looking at time on the horizontal scale, and the vertical scale is showing the nested success rate in blue, and the raw meter count in green, and the symbol average in red. And I'm looking for correlation here. Doesn't show quite as clear as a correlation as the scatter graphs previously, but it convinced me that it was going in the right direction. I took another look at a classic rock station from 4 to 5 p.m. and again we're looking at the same kind of correlation. So basically I went through a lot of these and convinced myself that the TVC was for real and was giving me legitimate information. The next thing I wanted to look at was the drive level. Did it make a difference if I had hotter audio or softer audio going into the TVC? And as you can see here, I've got nominal level, 0 dB, plus or minus 5 dB. I ran the same audio source through the TVC 3 times, and it tracked pretty darn close. So I was pretty pleased with that. And then repeatability. I kept the level the same here, and I ran 6 different trials of the exact same audio. I wanted to see if it would track. Was this thing going to give me random results? And it looks like it tracks pretty well. So having that in my back pocket, I said the TVC is the device we're going to use for these measurements. So the first thing to do was look at the bitrate testing of the music before encoding. We used different bit rates here. MP3s were tested at 18 kilobits, 32 kilobits, and 64 kilobits. I looked at the AAC64 algorithm, and we were looking, of course, all the time at the reset interval indication and the confidence level that came out of the TVC. This is a block diagram of the setup that I used. The computer was putting out audio that went into a unbalanced to balanced converter. It went into a AFEX compeller that just gave the encoder a decent, consistent level to work with. Went through our router and then got put into the TVC, and then my capture program was running to capture that data coming out of the TVC. And here are the first results. This particular song was, I think most of you are familiar with. It's Adele, Hello. It's got a lot of dynamic range in it. The beginning is very soft, and then we've got louder portions of the song here. So what we've graphed here is the time, the duration of the song, as well as the confidence level, I believe it is, we're looking at. And for this first one, you can see the darker blue is the linear response. And 18 kilobits here is the lower one. And as you can see, there is a definite effect here where the response from the TVC drops off quite a bit as the bit rate goes down. Just so you have a little bit of idea of what this audio sounds like, I'll just play a little snippet of the linear sample and then the 18 kilobits. I guess I won't play the sample. not going to play my mouse. Should it play the audio?
Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to me to go over everything. They say the time's supposed to heal you, but
Okay,
I ain't done much.
Because I don't have control, so I'll just let you know. We don't need to play the whole thing. And then I'd like to play just a 5 or 10 second snippet of this song here. This is 18 kilobits.
Hello, it's me.
Okay, thank you. So you've all heard these kind of samples before. I think it was just a good reminder as to what these sound like when you use the bit rate. At the beginning of the song, where there's the soft passage, you can see that they all were, pretty close to each other. And then when the modulation comes up, there's some real noise there, or music there, I should say. You can see that it really makes quite a difference. This is again looking at it a different linear compared to AAC 64. And this is the same song, Adele, Hello, and you can see the linear audio seems to do a little bit better than the 64 kilobit. This is song number 2. This is a hip-hop song. The vertical scale is showing the confidence level here, and the horizontal scale is showing seconds into the song. If I can play a 5-second snip of this, please. And if you could play 5 seconds of the 18 kilobits one over here. Okay, and you can see the dynamics are a little bit different with this type of music with a lot of staccato in it. It doesn't have quite the opportunity for encoding that more continuous music does, so we're seeing a bit of a difference here. But again, you can see the salient point is when you get down to these lower bit rates, especially 18 kilobits and even 32 kilobits, there's something going on here. Tried it with country music as well, and again, we saw similar results here where the linear audio looked like it was performing well, and it seemed to drop off quite a bit. However, 18 kilobits, looked not quite as good in terms of transmission. This is Katy Perry. Again, here you can see the linear in blue at the top and 18 kilobits down here below. Really seems to drop off at that point. This really surprised me. This is a cut of female voice, 280 seconds worth, and this did not show up the way I thought it was going to. As you can see, the linear response here is way down here, and we were looking at 32 kilobits and 20 kilobits showing up much better. So I wasn't quite sure what was going on here. I think this is one area that we need to do a lot more work and find out if there is something we don't understand about this. But I ran several of these tests with voice and got backwards results here. I also tried it with the same duration and a male voice here. And again, you can see the linear does not do as well here as 32 kilobits. It seems like, in this case anyway, with this particular sample, there's a sweet spot where compressed audio seems to carry voice a little better in terms of the transmission of the watermarks, and I don't really have an explanation for that. And the final part of this was looking at the bitrate reduction after encoding. So we used a few different MP3 flavors. We tested 18, 32, and 64, as well as AAC. And again, we looked at the same parameters, the reset interval and the confidence level. The measurements were made off the air from the tuner. And then what we did was we used one of the radio stations that I worked for in Boston to, during the experimental period, vary the bit rate on the importer. So we were transmitting our HD2 channel with different bit rates. And the bit rates we tested were 31, 26, 20, 15, and 10. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'll show you a bunch of them that shows what happens after encoding. 5 minutes? Okay, good. We'll wrap it up. This is a block diagram of the test setup. So we've got the audio from the automation system feeding it again into a compiler, goes into the PPM encoder, goes into the importer, gets broadcast over the air. Then down at the bottom here, we pick it up on the tuner and feed it into the TVC and the evaluation program. And this is the results of that. The vertical scale confidence level is shown here. What I did, this was the WBQT Irish music, and the first thing I wanted to do was repeat this 3 times to see if I was going to get consistent results. And so this is the same test run 3 times, and the graphs are overlaid on top of each other, and it shows good repeatability there. Again, this is the same thing, but showing the reset interval count instead of the confidence level. The same trial run 3 times. This is showing confidence level at 31 kilobits, and the red line is 10 kilobits. So you're seeing when you adjust your recorder so that you've got a 10 kilobit stream as opposed to a 31 kilobit stream, the watermark transmission does seem to be quite impaired. Here we're looking at confidence level on the same station, 31 kilobits as opposed to 26 kilobits, and again, you can see some difference there. And looking at the reset interval count for that same station. And here we go with a test, and I think this is a test that I was looking forward to mostly, which was comparing WROR's off-the-air analog to the HD1 at 64 kilobits. And what I found out there, I was really concerned that you know, so many stations are broadcasting in HD. Are we doing anything to impair the watermark transmission? And this graph shows that it doesn't look like we are. It doesn't look like there's any significant effect there. This is showing the same thing with the reset interval count. So again, analog versus HD1 at 64 kilobits looks like it's about the same. And here we looked at a different station, WBQT, which is a hip-hop station. And again, you can see the graphs are pretty close there. I can't really draw any meaningful conclusions from that. It looks like they're pretty close. And again, looking at the reset interval count, looks pretty close there. So the good news there is I think HD radio, at least at these bit rates for HD1, are not creating any problems there. So in conclusion, the bit rate reduction does seem to have an effect on the acoustical watermarks. Most music does benefit from a higher bit rate, although 64 kilobits doesn't seem to suffer much compared to linear. Voice seems to benefit from MP3, which is something that really surprised me at 32 kilobits. But you know, I caution you that this is a moving target. We need to do a lot more measurements to see if there's anything really to this. And special thanks to these people here that all helped out with cooperating and getting this study underway. And Sam, if we have any time, I'll
take a couple
minute
or two for questions. If you have any, come up to one of the mics, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dave Bialik. I'm from CBS Radio. I have a question on your test. Did you see any difference on the sample rate of the program audio? If you had better results with 44.1 or 48 or something?
Before encoding you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't even go that high. I looked at 64 kilobit and then I went right down to 32. So I didn't get any granularity in there as far as 44.1 versus 48.
How was the music material? Obviously, it was from a digital source, and were you downgrading and upgrading and so forth? What's that?
So the audio that I used was linear, and then I used compression algorithms to change the audio so that I could measure the difference. Is that what you're talking about? I started out with pristine linear audio.
I was just asking if it was like a CD source, or if you were using 32 cubic source or 40 or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the original music came from CD.
Okay. Thank you very much, Paul. Just a reminder that the proceedings of the 2017 NAB Broadcast Engineering and IT Conference are available at the NAB store. Proceedings contain selected figures from the broadcast engineering.